on the hot mic now. All right? Okay. Hold on. On Israel, is it? What's it? It says live now, is it? And how do I get the link for it? Share. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay. So you send in? Hello, hello. They need to turn down the PA system. Turn down a bit. Yeah. It's too loud. Yeah. Oh, you share it, right? That's live, is it now? So you share it. The share. Yeah, I've shared it. Oh, you already did. Yeah. I'll do a few more. Okay, thanks.
Community stores.
Meeting with Jeremy Corbyn. Hello, love you.
I've shared a link, for live link, this. So if you should have received it, share it with other people.
Now, Sophia couldn't make it. She's got stuff, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
But Hope has got a message from her.
Okay, well, thanks very much for turning up today. We were hoping, is that better? Okay, we, we were hope, we were hoping that we were going to be. Let me just.
Try holding it a bit further away from your mouth.
Okay, is that better? Okay, so we were hoping that we were going to be in the council chamber where we could have had a much more extensive discussion on what is actually happening in Gaza and
why we want the ceasefire to take place immediately. But unfortunately, the Birmingham City Council, in their wisdom, decided not to let us go ahead with that meeting. Okay. I think the whole arrangement was organized by Councillor Phil Murphy, well, not Councillor, sorry, Alderman Phil Murphy, and I think I'll ask him to come and explain to you what occurred between Thursday afternoon and yesterday when the council decided not to let us go ahead with that meeting. Alderman Philip Murphy, please.
I'm not very good at using microphones. Brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, I am so pleased and honored to be asked to speak today to address this meeting and to explain to you, is it working?
Hello, yeah.
I told you I wasn't very good at this. And to explain to you what has happened. I say I'm very pleased to be here. Like Comrade Malik, I'm now an old man, but when I was a young man at university in the 60s, we had many demonstrations. We demonstrated against the Americans in Vietnam. We demonstrated against the Americans bombing Cambodia in Grosvenor Square before the American embassy. And we've demonstrated, of course, against the killing of Irish people by the British Army. We demonstrated against the invasion of Iraq. So I am so pleased to see that that glorious tradition is being continued by you, and I'm elevated to see that this is going on. Now, I want to tell you, of course, I was going to make a very different speech today, but I'll just give an indication of some things I was going to say. I was going to say, among other things, that the Israelis and the American backers think they're invincible because they've got nuclear weapons, because they've got aircraft carriers, because they've got airplanes, and they've got all the modern facilities of oppression. But I'm here to tell you that, as I've just indicated, whenever the imperialists have attempted to oppress people, they've been defeated. They were defeated in Vietnam, they were defeated all over the world. They were defeated in Korea. The French imperialists tried the same thing to the people of Africa in Algeria, and there was defeat for them in Algeria. And I'm here to tell you that wherever the imperialists go, they will be defeated, and they will be defeated in Palestine. Trust me. Remember, I told you this. They will be defeated in Palestine. There's no question about it, and you're just warming me up. They will have their land back. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that. All of this, of course, is well known and clearly understood. It goes with the grain of history. Oppressors will be defeated. If you look from the time of ancient Rome, when there was slavery, people have always rise up against oppressors. As human beings, it is in our nature to fight against oppression. So the Palestinian people will be free. Remember, I told you that. Now, all of this is clearly understood. All of what I've said just now is probably common sense. But what isn't clearly understood, what isn't known, is the role this city council is playing in this issue. I was a councillor for 20 years, and that's the reason, and I'm now, as I said, an alderman, and that's the reason I volunteered to book the council chamber for our meeting today, something I've done on many occasions without any problem. The council chamber was booked for the meeting today. Everything went well. I was in touch with the officer dealing with the bookings. I suddenly, on Thursday, had an email from a very junior officer, incidentally, saying that the meeting has been cancelled. The explanation which was given is that they were concerned about safety, they were concerned about the meeting being stewed, they were concerned about the numbers, and they were concerned about the speakers. They were concerned about the speakers. Now, I must tell you, the application form said nothing about numbers, it said nothing about stewarding, and it said nothing about speakers. As a result of all of this, I spoke to the chief executive officer, the acting chief executive officer, to give me an explanation. I also speak to my sources in the council house, in the council, who explain to me exactly what has happened. Now, in my discussion with the chief officer, asking for an explanation, he said to me, oh, we were concerned about safety and all the rest of it. So I argued with him about this. I told him that all they had to do was to say to me that what are your stewarding arrangement, who are the speakers, and they would have had that information. Now, my discussion with this elevated gentleman lasted about half an hour. So we said a lot of things which I won't repeat here. But I must tell you, one of the things I said to him, how can he reasonably explain that the city's library was lit up in Israeli colors, yet we are not allowed to have an innocent meeting to discuss the issues in the Middle East? The application form says this is a meeting to discuss the situation in the Middle East. He, of course, had no answer for that. I told him that banning us from the council chamber was irrational, not in the interest of safety, because, of course, in a safe environment like the council house, there can't be any disruption. There was a little disruption here today, because the security people here is trying to tell us that this square is owned by them. I've tried to speak to the previous leader of the council, who would have been responsible for it. I have not been able to speak to him, but isn't it an outrage that we're being told that our square is now privately owned? But that's another issue. To come back to the issue of the banning of the council chamber, my sources and reliable sources tell me that this is how the banning of our meeting took place. The leader of the council, one John Cotton, incidentally someone who has been imposed on the people of Birmingham undemocratically by Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, he started the process of banning this meeting. He then passed it on to something called the City Safety Organization. They passed it on to Prevent. Now, you know what the Prevent organization is about. Prevent is about stopping terrorism. So we were here for a purpose, peaceful purposes, was being described as potential terrorists. And that's why they banned the meeting. When I asked the chief officer whether or not Councillor Cotton knew about this, remember my sources had already told me that he was responsible. I was just trying to see if he's going to lie to me. Of course, he lied and said to me, that's an inappropriate question to ask. And I said to him, I note very clearly that he hadn't denied that Councillor Cotton knew about it. So what this means for us, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, is that Councillor Cotton and the leadership of this council has got blood on their hands. They are supporting the killing of thousands and thousands of women and children in Gaza. Now, let me say something about that, the killing of thousands of people and the wounding of thousands of people in Gaza. During the Second World War, and I'm a bit of an historian, during the Second World War, the Nazis had the policy for any one German fascist you kill, we will kill 10 ordinary civilians. That is what the Israeli state is doing at the moment. That's why they're killing so many ordinary civilians, women and children in Gaza. They're using that barbarous ratio that there's 1 in 10. I didn't see the news today, but I should imagine it's 9,500. They've got the vicious ratio, 1 to 10. They say that 1,400 Israelis were killed. They will not stop until they kill 14,000 Palestinian people. That is their vicious fascist behavior, and we must oppose this. This has to be opposed. Not only do the German fascists behave like that, the French in Algeria, and I know something about Algeria, the French in Algeria behave the same way. For a few French people killed, the French, sorry, comrade, the French rounded up thousands of Algerians and kill them in that vicious ratio I talked about. And I'll finish now, comrade. Not only did the French behave in this fashion, the Germans did this in Czechoslovakia. One vicious leader, I think his name was Reinhard, was killed in Czechoslovakia in Prague, and the German fascists round up thousands, hundreds of Czech people in a village and kill them. So we can see that the policy of the Israeli government is a fascist policy. They say that the fighters in the Middle East are animals. Of course, I will finish by telling you that the whole point of colonialism is to make the colonized into animals. So if Hamas behaves in an animal fashion, it's because of the result of colonialism. All colonialism tries to turn people into animals. So if there's animality in the Middle East today, the imperialists are connected to it. Of course, I'm sorry to go on, Chair, none of us support the killing of women and children. I'm sure no one here in this audience would support the killing of women and children. But what about the thousands of women and children being killed in Gaza today? Of course, their lives doesn't matter, doesn't it? The American enablers are allowing the Israeli fascists to kill as many Palestinian people as they can. So I'm going to end by repeating the slogan, from the river to the sea, Gaza will be free. Let me repeat it. From the river to the sea, Gaza will be free. And I also want to say, we must not let the enemies define for us. Those who define are the masters, and they think they're the masters, so they can define for us. The truth is, as I understand it, the slogan means that in Palestine, all people will be free, Jews, Israelis, and all of the denominations, and we won't have that area ruled by fascists. We will get rid of the fascists. And finally, a great black man called C.L.R. James, some of you who are educated would know him, said that at the rendezvous of victory, there will be a place for everyone. So as my brothers in Africa would say, the struggle continues. Once again, I salute you for your courage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zeb. From the river to sea, free, 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 free. I think we'll try and attempt to continue the meeting as we would have done if it was in the council chamber, but I think it will probably be appropriate that the speakers keep their speeches to a minimum because we are outside here and there will be slogans as well. And we will attempt to have a full public meeting, if not in the council chamber, maybe in the Midlands Institute in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be arranging that very soon. There is also going to be a demonstration in London on the 11th of November. The details have still to be finalized. There will be coaches going from Birmingham, and we are expecting 1 million of us to turn up in London to make sure that we force our government to call for an immediate ceasefire, and we force our political leaders and our members of parliament and councillors to come and stand with us and demand for an immediate ceasefire. So free, 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 ceasefire, say now, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Okay, now I've got with us present Marwan Darwish. He's an academic from Coventry University, and he has done an extensive amount of work on what's happening in Palestine, and he's also a political activist fighting for the freedom of Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Naeem. And want to thank you, all of you, being here today, brothers, sisters, comrades. Last month, we heard constantly from Israeli speakers, from the Israeli propaganda machines, slogans, statements, racist statements, dehumanizing statements, like human animals, the people in Gaza, Nazi, ISIS. No one is innocent in Gaza, the Minister of Agriculture said in Israel. We want to destroy it. We want to destroy Gaza. Now, unfortunately, this is being repeated again and again in the UK media. And I want to say it is a real shame that journalists do not challenge such statements being broadcast. I want to tell you that this is the logic, the rationale of a genocide. This is when colonial regimes, as my previous comrade said, this is the logic of a colonial settler regimes. Logic of elimination, gradual, and in the time of war, this is the opportunity to eliminate and push people outside. So we know this. We know this happened in Rwanda with the Tutsis. It's happened in Bosnia against the Muslims. It's happened in China against the Rohingya. And it happened again and again in native nations, in Canada, in the US, in Australia, in New Zealand. This is what the depth of the Israeli strategy, not to have Palestinians in their homeland. But this hasn't just started in the last month. We know that the ethnic cleansing a month ago continued in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, in Sheikh Jarrah, in Area C in the West Bank. 60% of the Palestinian land, 60% of the Palestinian land in Area C, which is supposed to be the Oslo sort of peace agreement, is controlled totally by Israel. And it is happening every day. I was in October last year in the West Bank doing some work. And we were with Israeli solidarity groups helping Palestinian farmers. I want to tell you, I saw in my own eyes settler, racist, attacking and nearly killed an Israeli woman, 70 years old, because she came to support Palestinian farmers to stay on their land. This is the people that we want to share the future with. This is the people that we want to share in Palestine. Vision that based inequality between us. I have a little project, and I'm working with a group of youth in Gaza. Their 20s. It's part of the university. And I've been in contact with them, recently when there was possibility to talk to them. And I sent them, obviously it's a very difficult, I met these people, I know them. I sent them the little video of what's happened in the demonstration in London. It was so inspiring to get some response from them. And one of them wrote to me, and I quoted, we don't want food, we don't want water, we want you to stop the genocide. God knows if I will be live tomorrow, Marwan. So what we are doing here, what we will do in the demonstration, will give the power and inspiration to the people to stay in Gaza. But this is not only in the West Bank and Gaza, colleagues. It is also happening inside Israel against the Palestinian citizens of Israel. Israel declared emergency regulation war, which is, by the way, inherited by the British in 1945. emergency regulation that gave the police the authority to arrest, to prevent any organization or solidarity of meetings. In my town, special forces came to the middle of the town, arrested teenagers, activists, some of them still in jail now. This is the democracy that they talk about. There was demonstration, racist slogans and chants against Palestinian students in Netanya. They went to the accommodation of the Palestinian students, wanted to burn it, wanted to kill them. So what I am saying, it's happening everywhere in Israel, in the West Bank, inside Israel, and in Gaza. We want to call for a ceasefire now to stop the killing. We will not witness another genocide. As a humanity, as human beings here and everywhere, we want to say to our children that we will not silence against this. We want to stand up. We have a responsibility to tell to our counselor that this is not acceptable to cancel a meeting. We pay the taxes for this town. We are part of this city, and they should not prevent this peaceful demonstration. This will not happen in our names, not in my name, not in your name, this genocide. Not killing of civilian, any civilian, Palestinians or Israelis. But we must, as the UN Secretary said, and everybody was angry with him, he said that this is in a context. The context is the occupation, is the oppression, is the lack of future for youth in Gaza. Stop the war, yes. So, ceasefire now, ceasefire now, ceasefire now. Thank you very much, Naeem. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Marwan, Now, can I ask Dr. Ahmed from Muslim Association of Britain? Muslim Association of Britain is engaged in organizing these events in Birmingham, so Dr. Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. Thank you, Naeem. Dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for coming today. We're coming again and again to say one word. Stop killing human beings. Be human. Be human. I was speaking to the gentleman. We are not a Muslim Association of Britain, yes, but in Islam, I keep saying that many times. The Quran says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam, which translates into we honored the sons of Adam. We honored human being. You are honored because of human being. Whatever your background, whatever your color, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your culture. So this is, I was speaking to a Christian friend, got this from a Jew friend as well, about Jews says no to genocide. So we are actually here representing this. We're proud of this society, which is multicultural. We are strong because of our diversity, not despite our diversity. I quoted this from the Prime Minister of Canada, which I think I agree with him with this. So we're strong because not despite of our diversity. We need actually to remember that we are human beings at the end of the day. There are a lot of politics in the issue. There are a lot of things in the issue. There are a lot of occupation. We know the story didn't start 25 days ago. It did start 75 years ago and beyond. So we have to be fair. And the Ukrainian actually catastrophe gives very clear indication about the double standards. I received some statistics about 563 days of battles in Ukraine. and 25 or more days in Palestine. And the number of killed people are around 9,000 people in 500 days plus in Ukraine and in 25 days in Palestine, in Gaza. The injured are about 18,000 in 560 plus days in Ukraine, and they are exceeding 24,000 injured in about less than a month in Palestine. So I think I sort of respect every one of you and all free people all over the globe who are supporting a just cause. We're not supporting it. It's not a Muslim issue. It's not a Christian issue. It's yes, Masajid has been attacked and churches has been attacked. The friend was saying what means Al-Quds. It's in Arabic, is Jerusalem. And this is the mosque of the dock of the rock. So not the Masjid al-Aqsa, which is nearby to it. Yes, there is a religious, all of us who have holy issues there, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and people need to live together. They lived together many years ago in peace with no problem. But now we are against what? We are against occupation, we're against apartheid, we're against attacking in front of our eyes children, hospitals, ambulance. Is this acceptable? We are in an official places here, the council, and I admire what the former councillor Murphy said, that we have the right to be in a peaceful place like here and organize a peaceful seminar speaking about the issue. And even he said they had a concern about safety, about numbers, about stewards. Did they send to Councillor Murphy saying, please provide the name of the speakers? Please provide, it's easily sent. You can send easily a list of speakers, a list of stewards, a list of whatever numbers. We want the place to be safe. We want the safety of this place. We love this Birmingham. We love this country. We want to live peacefully, all of us. So thanks very much, every one of you. I wouldn't take much long time from you, but I just promote that a lot of demonstrations are happening. I think there's something on the 11th in London and many on others. Whatever you're doing, each one of us has a role to play. It's not only, I think we by our hearts, we hate what we're seeing. But again, now the social media, you can come peacefully in a country of free speech. We want Britain to remain a country of free speech, not to become a third world country. We want Britain to continue what the so-called British values. Does the British values say that you support the genocide? I don't think so. Does any human values support killing people and innocents and women and children? Certainly no. Doctors and ambulance and team, and no, certainly no. So I think I send the message here to Rishi Sunak, send to Biden, to all those officials, to the councillor here, to everyone. Let's go back to your humanity at some point. Go back to your humanity and stand the right position, not the double standard. Free, free Palestine. Free, free. Free, free. Cease fire now. Cease fire now. Cease fire now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I think before we go forward, I want to make an announcement that the council is meeting on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And we are going to have a picket of that council starting at 1 o'clock, either here or just outside the council house. We'll decide in the next, over the weekend. But please join us then, because we want to give a message to the councillors and to the council. The council has already flown a flag, the Israeli flag, in this council chamber. They have actually lit the library with the Israeli colors. We have been asking them to do the same for the Palestinians, and they have so far refused to do so. I was hoping that some councillors would be here today to speak to us. If you are present, please come forward and speak. In the meantime, can I ask Michael Kalmanowitz? He represents the Jewish Anti-Zionist Network, and he'll speak to us about their position on what is happening in Palestine.
Thank you, Naeem. So I'm from IJAN, the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. Okay. And of course we think that Palestinians have every right to resist, and we have every right to support them. Just to tell you one sentence of who we are, we are committed to struggles for human survival, of which the Palestinian struggle is an indispensable part. That's who we are. Last night, we were outside the Israeli ambassador's house in Swiss Cottage in London. We were there because she said that it's okay to kill 600,000 Gazans. She said that because she pointed to a war crime, the British bombing of Germany during the war, where 600,000 civilians were killed. She thinks that's good, and she thinks that Israel should do the same. And we tell her, no fucking way. I want to tell you, as one of the brothers before indicated, Israel is no stranger to committing genocide. So, what was mentioned before, Rwanda, armed by Israel, the Rwandan genocide, armed by Israel. The Rohingya genocide, armed by Israel. Srebrenica, the Muslim minority, genocide armed by Israel. Listen, that's their métier, that's what they do. And we have to stop them. And it's not just the genocide, it's the dictatorships that they've armed. The dictatorship that was in Haiti, and also the coup against Aristide, all armed by Israel. The death squads in Guatemala, all armed by Israel. The Argentinian dirty war, where 30,000 people were disappeared, that is, tortured and killed, armed by Israel. I want to tell you one thing about that. They also killed 3,000 Jewish people in Argentina in the 70s, armed by Israel, and they knew that Jewish people were being killed. They don't care. They don't care about anyone. They learned from the British Empire, the theft of Africa, the theft of India, the killing of millions of people, the stealing of trillions of sterling worth of resources. That's where Israel learned what they're doing, and now they're doing it all over. And all the Europe and the West is looking at them, seeing how they do it. You know, our governments don't speak for us. They just don't. They think we're animals, to use that expression. We're not necessary. And you lose the old Nazi expression, useless eaters, which they refer to people with disabilities. Well, I think that they think that many of us are useless eaters, and they'd rather get rid of us. Rid of us are looking at Israel to see how it's done. What can you get away with? But the thing is, here we are. We're from different religions, we're women and men, from different races, from different sectors, from different movements, and we're getting together. And it is when we get together that we will win. We will win. And once we've won for Palestine, it means we're winning for all of us. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Ceasefire! 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 I think the trade union movement is a very essential part of the solidarity campaign for the Palestinians in this country and internationally. And I think in Birmingham, the Birmingham Trades Council has played a very significant role in supporting the Palestine solidarity movement. So we have got the president of the Birmingham City Trade Union Council with us today, and he's going to speak, Martin Ho.
Thank you, comrades. Listening to Phil Murphy earlier reminded me of his role in the struggle against apartheid. That struggle was victorious, but what resonated with me was that in 1985-1986, we tried to organise a public meeting in solidarity with the ANC on Soho Road, Handsworth. And we were met with the same objections.
it's going to be violent, who is speaking, etc., etc. And it was the work of Phil Murphy and some of the other comrade activists in Handsworth who are still around, it appears, today, that succeeded in getting a solidarity meeting with the ANC in Handsworth, which is of enormous political benefit to the young people in Handsworth at that time. So there's a precedent for unelected people in this city trying to stifle popular organisation. They did not succeed then, and they are not going to succeed now. The Birmingham TUC seeks to organise and coordinate trade union activity in the city and support solidarity struggles with all of those fighting oppression. We are committed to continuing to support the PSC. We're committed to continuing to support the demonstrations which occur in this city and elsewhere until the struggle is won. The final thing I want to talk about is the role of the Unite the Union. I am the regional chair of the Unite Political Committee. The initial public statements of Unite were frankly disappointing. I asked people to look at the statement issued at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock yesterday, which finally calls for a ceasefire. And I'm specifically asked to tell you that the Regional Political Committee, which comprises Unite members throughout this region, unanimously called for a ceasefire and committed the union in this region to fighting with the PSC for a ceasefire. Solidarity, comrades.
Thank you very much, Martin. Sophia Beach, she is the Jewish Revolutionary Socialist activist. She was going to be with us today, but unfortunately she cannot make it. She has sent us a message, and I'll ask Hope to come and read the message to us, please.
Hello, just to say, Sophia apologises for not being here. She's currently preparing to speak on a platform with Jeremy Corbyn in the upcoming days. But she wants to send a solidarity message to people fighting for Palestinian rights across the country, and especially here in Birmingham. So she sent me a statement to read out, so I'm going to read it. Firstly, she wants to say that people across the world should stand together for Palestinian rights. It's been amazing to see the number of people on the streets fighting for the rights of Palestinians to be free from the river to the sea. It's disgusting to see the smears against this movement saying it is anti-Semitic. And it must be said and repeated that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Unlike what our leaders and the Israeli state tries to argue, the crimes that have been committed against the Palestinians is not in the name of Jewish people. It gives us hope to see the resistance against these crimes from Jewish people across the world, from the occupation of Capitol Hill to demonstrations here in London and beyond. As Jewish people, we understand what oppression feels like, which is why we stand in solidarity with the Palestinians. But what can we do here? Well, firstly, there's a demonstration next week in London, which Friends of Allah called Millions Marching for Gaza. We must make every effort to get down to London and show our solidarity with the Palestinians. But we have to go further than just demonstrating. We cannot give them peace until they give Palestinians peace. We have to demand answers from our government. Why have they got money to give to Israel to drop bombs on hospitals, but they haven't got money to fund our NHS and give doctors and nurses a fair pay rise? Why have they got money to give to Israel to drop bombs on schools, but not to fund our schools here and give teachers a proper pay rise? We have to fight against the system that oppresses Palestinians. But we must fight against the system as a whole. There is only one solution: intifada, revolution. Solidarity, comrades.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think I've got now Clive Walden from the CWU and the Socialist Party. I think the demonstration that's going to take place on the 11th is very important. There are going to be coaches going from Birmingham, and I would like to take as many coaches as possible. I think last 3 weeks we have been taking about around 7 to 8 coaches every time there's been a demonstration in London. This time around we need to double that because we need 1 million people in London. And I think the people of Palestine need our support, and taking coaches to London is the minimum we can do. So please join us if you can. So, Clive Walden.
Good afternoon. I'd like to first of all give the greetings of the Communication Workers Union. I haven't spoken to them about it, but I'm sure they'll would like to pass their greetings on this meeting. I think first of all, I hope I never hear anyone from Birmingham City Council talk about democracy and freedom of speech after their disgraceful actions in banning this meeting. It just goes to show, I think, the true nature of Starmer's Labour Party, one that will support murderous activities of the Israeli Defence Force, but at the same time, as the previous speaker said, denies public services in this country, says there's no money for public services or decent pay rises or to repair our infrastructure and so on. I think this says everything you need to know about the state of the Labour Party at the moment. It's not a Labour Party, it's a Tory party wedded to the interests of international big business and international capitalism. But obviously, we're really here to talk about what's going on in Israel-Palestine. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I think we need to draw out the political lessons. The reason that Netanyahu has reacted the way he has is because he wants to desperately take Israeli people's attention off the fact he's still facing corruption charges. His government was getting less and less popular, and it was an attempt to shore up his support by appealing to the ultra-right, extremist, Zionist Israeli settlers. But unfortunately, I think, as we said, that what really is going to provide the solution to a just settlement in Israel-Palestine is the power of the working class all across the region. What's really lacking is workers' parties in both Palestine and Israel, which would be able, by campaigning on the issues that affect people in both sides of that divide. Both Israeli and Palestinians are suffering from a cost of living crisis, inequality, repression, and in many cases being exploited by the same employers, the same landlords, and so on. They've got more in common with each other than they have with their leaders, either Netanyahu or the undemocratic government of Hamas in Palestine. What we need is a workers' intifada, like that happened in the 1980s, which at least led to the Oslo Accords. And that's how you start to get concessions. It's by general strikes, insurrections, protests, shutdowns, and the language of working class action and solidarity. And that's what's needed. But I return to the point about the Labour Party. We all know that what they've done is absolutely outrageous. But unfortunately, I think people would expect the opposition. People would expect His Majesty's opposition to support people opposing the murderous activities of the Israeli Defence Force. Unfortunately, Palestinian people have no politicians in Britain or no major parties in Britain to speak up for them. Working people have no party in Britain to represent them. What we need isn't just to have rallies like this, which is good, but come election time, we need to set up a workers' list of candidates who support progressive policies, who support the rights of the Palestinian people, and who oppose Tory austerity. The Labour Party is no longer a party that can represent working people. We need to do the job ourselves, select our own candidates on our own policies.
Okay, thank you very much, Clive. We are all Palestinians. We are all Palestinians. We are all Palestinians. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. While Clive was speaking, somebody came to me and said that they've already booked 5 coaches from Walsall and 2 from Wolverhampton. I hope Birmingham can do better. But I think in terms of how you can join or how you can book your tickets, they will be on our social media, and I think we've got a lot of social media now. We've got things on WhatsApp, Instagram, on the Facebook and the website as well, and information will be there by Monday. So start booking your coaches early, because if you book early, we can book more coaches as we need them. And I think the coaches may be running out as well. So I think we need to make sure from Birmingham we take enough coaches to make 1 million in London as well. The coaches that are going to go from Walsall, there are going to be 5 of them, and I think you can also, if you are from Walsall, you can go and look up where they are going to be going from and how you can book your place on those, and also from Wolverhampton. I think there is a similar event taking place in Wolverhampton later this afternoon as well. So there are lots and lots of events like this happening. There is actually a regional day of action today. So what we are doing today is part of a national movement of protests, meetings, vigils across the city and across the country. And I think they are taking place in Manchester, in Leeds, in Sheffield, in Birmingham, in Walsall, and Wolverhampton as well. So we are not alone, and there are lots of events taking place in London as well at the same time. So please join us on the coaches, come to London and make sure we are part of the 1 million demanding ceasefire now.
Come on, Stacey, once. Using country,
Yeah. No.
Mention that this is being streamed live on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. Free. Ceasefire. Okay, I've got Stuart Richardson from Birmingham Stop the War. He's very dedicated, and I think he has attended every demonstration that has taken place since we have started this, for a long time now. So please welcome Stuart Richardson.
Hello. I am the Secretary of Birmingham Stop the War, but I just want to say something on behalf of Birmingham NEU. The NEU, which is the biggest education union, has a good record of supporting the Palestinians, and our General Secretary spoke at one of the first major demonstrations in London, expressing concern over the question of the destruction of education facilities, the killing of children in Gaza. And today on Al Jazeera there was a report that a school had been bombed in Gaza. Utterly disgraceful act. So the NEU has done this, and it's not just a short-term thing. At our annual conference, we often have, and this occurred this year, a live speech from the General Secretary of the Palestinian Teachers Union. I think it was very important we have the brothers here from the Anti-Zionist Network. What is very, very vivid is the action of Jewish people around the world in opposition to these crimes. There was a very impressive occupation in New York of Grand Central Station, in which thousands of Jewish people wore T-shirts, "Not in our name." And that's very important, because the theme of the right wing to attack us is to say this is an anti-Jewish movement. This is a hate movement. That is completely wrong. We welcome the participation and value the participation of Jewish people in this movement. There are many Jewish people active in Stop the War Coalition and the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. I think that, but you have to, the reality of Israel is an apartheid state. And I'd urge people to try to get representatives of Amnesty International to speak at their community organizations, their trade unions, their labor parties. They produced an excellent report from a very moderate organization detailing the aspects of Israel as an apartheid state. And that's the sort of thing we want to say. In Israel, if you're a Palestinian Arab, a full citizen of Israel, you cannot live in most parts of Israel. That is exactly the same as existed in South Africa. Black people could not live in large parts of South Africa. You have laws which are inherently discriminatory. If you're a Jewish child who was arrested by the police, you can have your parents and lawyers present when you're interrogated. That is not true for Palestinian children, and many Palestinian children are brutalized and beaten during those interviews. Even Jewish Zionist publications say quite frankly that, and we've got copies of that if people are interested on the Stop the War stall, that the funding of education for Jewish children and Palestinian children is totally unequal, like there was in South Africa. There's an article from the Jewish Chronicle, which is the pinnacle of activists who support the Zionist state, in which one of their individuals went to the village and they got 456 shekels in the Palestinian village. They went to the Jewish village and they got 1,600 shekels per year. That is a ratio of nearly 4 to 1. If that's not apartheid, I don't know what is. So solidarity with this mobilization. It's great that we'll have a collaboration between ourselves with our Stop Massacre placards, Palestine Solidarity, the Muslim Association, etc. And come to our stall where we've got some very interesting literature, but solidarity, and hopefully see you tomorrow outside Barclays.
I think I'm aware that it's getting cold and it's starting to rain, so we've only got one more speaker to go. But before I go to that, you can go to visit our website, West Midlands Palestine Solidarity Campaign, to find more details of this, which are going to be there by Monday. And I think also on our social media, Facebook and everything else, you can search for Palestine Solidarity Campaign or West Midlands Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and you will find us, and you'll find the details of how to book your coaches and where the coaches will be going from. So I finally introduce Amar Saleh, who is a Palestinian refugee living in Birmingham.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks for having me. What we have been witnessing in Gaza is not only genocide, it's crime against humanity, crime against all of us. The Zionist regime have been targeting the most vulnerable categories in Palestine, literally women and children. I strongly believe that the ultimate goal of the Zionist regime is to ethnic cleanse the Palestinians, is to deport them in a way or another to Egypt or to any other country because of demographic balance. The most thing Israel opposes is the right of return. There are 7 million Palestinian refugees in the exile, and Israel do not allow a single Palestinian refugee to return. This is one of their goals, to dehumanize us, to keep us in an exile. Lately, like last week, they targeted the church, the third oldest church in Palestine, in Gaza. They targeted mosques, they targeted refugee camps. Gazans in Gaza, they wish death but do not find it. They are walking dead. They are writing the names of their children on the children's arms in order to identify them after death. Imagine if this is not terrorism, then what? The Palestinian resistance is the only way to protect the Palestinian people. The international community failed times and times to protect us. The international community failed even to give access to any humanitarian aid, to secure any humanitarian corridors. So what kind of international community do we live in? I feel that I'm living during 40s and 30s. It's Palestine 2023, imagine. Imagine nowadays, like you look at your children and you don't know if you will wake up and they are alive or not. Like many people, they don't know where are their children now. There are more than 1,000 under rubbles. And the international community is not doing anything for Palestine. Double standards, we fed up of double standards. We fed up of this inhuman treatment for the Palestinians. It's not only Muslims. There are Christian Palestinians have been killed. Christian churches. I didn't hear anything from the Pope. I didn't hear anything from the Vatican. I didn't hear anything from the Christian community condemning this vicious and savage attack. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think the one final announcement I want to make is there is a demonstration tomorrow, 12:30, outside Primark, next to Waterstones in the new street. So that's at 12:30, and if you can join that, that would be good.
Yeah, I'm from the Big Ride for Palestine. We're going to be having a solidarity bike ride from 10:30 outside the MAC, and we're going to be riding and joining the demonstration. So if you're a cyclist, do come and join us with your flags and your Palestine shirts and whatever. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for turning up in this weather. Thank you very much for supporting us, and come and join us on Tuesday. Yeah, and come and join us on Tuesday at 1 o'clock outside the Council House. And then make sure you book your places to go to London for the 1 million march on the 11th of November. Thank you very much for coming today. Thanks. By the way, I forgot to mention, this event was actually live broadcast, so you would be able to see it on YouTube later on as well? Yes? Okay.
Just to say, we're privileged to film this. The link will be sent to everyone, and all you very, very clever young people can make use of it as much as you want to. So we'll send the link to the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, and Comrade Malik, who should be thanked for all his wonderful work, will let you have it.
Okay, thank you very much for coming today, and to the speakers who came and spoke as well. And shame on the council for cancelling the meeting on us. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Ceasefire! 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 Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free!
I just thought I might as well dive in and just remind people about the ride.
Thank you.